Welcome, everyone. It is March 5th, 2023. I can't believe it. It's first Sunday in March. I'm Robin from Western Mass, and this is the Morgellons Call of the Week. So this is a place where you can find support, answers to your questions, and help for dealing with Morgellons and other skin parasites. If you're on this call and you have those issues, you're in the right place. So Richard Kuhns, the author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites, is the host of this call. He's here to answer questions. He's here to share his wisdom, strength, and experience and knowledge. And he'll answer questions through email. He has suffered and overcome pretty much all of the things that you could possibly need to. and he's here with solutions. He's here with solutions for all of us. It works if you work it. So he's here to present that program to you so that you can work it and get well. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Richard Kuhns, the world-leading, in my opinion, expert on Morgellons and other skin parasites, and the author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites.
Thank you, Robin. It's a pleasure to be here. Today is the third week that we are basically doing questions and answers. The goal here is to get people making the program work. The program is pretty darn easy, but yet it can be complicated. And the key to making it work is simply one thing, and that is to make this diet work. And the diet is published, it's free. Each and every one of you have it. It's explained in chapter 4 of the book. And if you're having trouble making the diet work, I recommend you read chapter 4 forwards and backwards for the next 2 days because you're making a mistake. You see, I have discovered that it's the foods that we eat that activate and contribute to the organisms flourishing in our bodies. And it's just not, it's specific foods. They have desire for definitely sugars and wheat and most oils and most fruits. And as long as we eat these things, we are feeding them. And that makes us a walking, talking, parasite breeding machine. So that as long as we eat what they like, we are multiplying the organisms. They shed from our bodies in our automobile, in our workspace, in the stores that we go, the salons that we go to, and all over our home, everywhere. And in order to stop it, the thing that I've discovered is to stop making them happy and instead put them to sleep or into some kind of trance state. I don't know how or why this diet works. It just does. You cannot ever compare it to any other diet that has a theory behind it. The paleo diet, the keto diet, the caveman diet, any diet you want to look at that is healthy will allow things like olive oil and tell you how healthy olive oil is. But that's just one of the many things that are healthy that the parasites enjoy and love. Now, I will be getting into some making recommendations as we get into the Q&A period. In fact, the Morgellons diet, previously known as the King diet, is a recommendation that I am making. And that being the case, before you start the Morgellons diet or accept any of our recommendations, the FDA informs me to tell you to discuss it with your doctor to make sure it doesn't interfere with any health problems you may be experiencing. And the AMA requires me to inform you that none of us are trained in the art of medicine. We do not have any degrees. We have not been licensed by any organization to practice medicine. So therefore, because only licensed physicians can diagnose, treat, or cure any disease, we cannot do that. We will not do that. And we can only educate. So we can educate you how to use the Morgellons diet. We can educate you how to clean the organisms out of your environment. We can educate you how to cleanse your skin and get them out of the deeper layers of your skin. And we can educate you how and what supplements that will build health and immune functioning. That's what we are allowed to do. So let's open the phone.
I can do the caveman diet or GAPS or paleo. Yours is too much on it that my body can't handle.
Well,
what?
Too much what?
It just says yours has too much on it that my body can't handle.
Okay. Well, again, people may read the diet and think that because there is something that is on the eat list that you have to eat it. No. Just means you can eat it if you want to or would like to. But what is on the do not eat list is pretty much do not eat it, because the organisms will love it. So there is nothing that you have to eat. In fact, a way of testing it is just stop eating everything for 3 days, a 3-day fast. Don't go fasting longer than that, because you can have real serious medical issues unless it's supervised by your physician. So eat nothing for 3 days. Take no supplements for 3 days. And you'll be amazed that within probably hours or maybe a day that the symptoms will simply kind of go away, kind of, be diminished greatly. So there's nothing you have to eat. But being that we want to stay healthy and vibrant, it's important to have protein, fats, and carbohydrates, the basic food elements that we need.
I'd asked you last week about foot baths, and it was suggested, you mentioned to educate me and others, to add the great product, the Nature's Gift Debriding Soap, along with the mineral sachets and apple cider vinegar. Is more of the debriding soap better? I think you said 2 capfuls is more better. I know it's a little bit pricey.
No. Only of half a capful.
Oh.
Maybe even a quarter of the 100%, maybe even a quarter of the capful. Now, when I say capful, I mean the cap that is on the bottle. You take it off.
Right. So, okay, because that could...
fill up a half a cap. This is very powerful stuff.
Oh, okay, because, I was just wondering about that, because sometimes, the thought is more can be, better, or it can go against a person. So what you're saying, no more than like a fourth of the cap?
I mean, you can put in a whole bottle. It won't hurt, but it's an expensive foot bath. More isn't better in this case.
I'm glad
a quarter capful is pretty concentrated compared to what you use in a bathtub. In a bathtub, you're talking, a dilution of 1 to 20,000, 1 part of nature's gift to 20,000 parts of water. A foot bath has only a gallon or so, so even a quarter cap is even more concentrated than what you have in a bathtub.
Okay, I appreciate that feedback. The other quick question I have is, do you have a take on using seaweed for their iodine allowance, or what is your feeling on kelp, and there's so many other seaweeds? Can that work or not?
I really don't know. I experiment. I don't know if seaweed will be good for stage 1. There's no reason why not. And we do have a supplement in the store. It's potassium iodide that you may consider as well. But
right, that's the iodide. Right. I was just, there are a lot of products out here for years, and the health food store seaweed has been promoted, and I was just wondering about that, if that could feed the organisms or.
I don't know. I'd welcome your input. I'd welcome you to, in Chapter 4 it tells you how to test a new food, get to the point where you're free of activity, and then have some seaweed and then report back.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Yes,
appreciate
Robin.
it. Thanks so much. You take care.
I have eaten seaweed on stage 1 with no problem at all.
Okay, thanks.
And
Robin.
I used it. I'd use it in salads. I'd use it in stir fry. But everyone's a little different. I just know that I'm super sensitive to lots of things, and seaweed was great. So.
Okay. When you say seaweed, do you mean like kelp, or it doesn't matter what is the source? There's so many different,
I
forms.
don't know. You'd have to. If you're going to try different kinds of seaweed, read labels and pick the one with just seaweed in it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for feedback. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Keep coming back. Next, Chris.
So my mom is on this journey. We just basically we're getting into phoning up on the information. I've started reading the ebook. We have Nature's Gift. That is helping quite a bit. But she is still really struggling with the crawling sensations. And she has just a lot of questions about, where does it come from? Why does it do what it does? So maybe some of those answers will be in the ebook as well.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. Okay. Okay.
But the bottom line is, we don't care where it comes from. It's here. We can't send it back. We don't care what caused it. Again, we can't send it back. It's like COVID. We don't care anymore. The governments can care, and hopefully you avoid that kind of thing happening. But as far as we are here trying to get our lives back, we are not in a position to make any governmental changes, or we're just here to get our lives back. So wherever it has come from, or what caused it, we just know how to get it back.
Right. I think just to clarify that point, it's more with her. It's more the biology part of it. How do the parasites infect us? We have the Lyme component
read
as
the
well.
book.
Yeah, it's all explained in Chapter 2 in quite detail. Okay.
Okay. So we're glad to be here. We'll be
glad to have you. Keep coming back. We're here to support you, and people who attend this routinely do far better than people who try to do it on their own.
That's great news.
How about it being contagious?
My mother
is contagious.
Wanted to ask.
It is contagious.
She's very worried about infecting me. I'm not having symptoms.
It's not contagious to everybody. And the thing that may make the difference is the pheromones that you produce compared to those that your mother produces. It's probably my speculation and best guess from all of I studied and looked at and is that it's pheromone issue. So there are many people who live in a family and nobody else is impacted except that one person. There are people who have, one lady said she read my book and she said, well, I have it and I have 282 employees and none of them have it. Well, lucky her, really lucky her. So based on that, she thought I was full of it because I know from the emails that I get from not 5 or 6 people, but for hundreds over the years, that people give it to other people and people get it from being around other people. Now, not everybody. So the idea is when you first realize that you have it, as I said, we are walking, talking, breathing machines. We shed them wherever we go. If you take an airplane and you're not, and you're itching and biting, you're shedding them on the airplane, the next person that sits in that seat, if they are susceptible to it, can pick it up and be infected by it. But many people are not infected by it. So it's a pig in a poke. People say, well, should I have my granddaughter over? Well, if you're new, it's a pig in a poke. I would not have, it's being socially conscious. I would not go into a salon where they're going to be working on my hair or my beard, or into a massage parlor where they're going to be working on my skin until I was free of itching and biting. Only then would I consider myself being non-contagious.
Okay, that's very helpful because we're both Lyme patients and we've both been treated off and on for 20 years. And that it sounds to me like it's a little bit similar to the tick scenario because we know that they have a sense of smell and, they're selective about who they prey on. So it kind of made sense to me that maybe...
Now that you brought up the subject of Lyme disease, the pilot studies done by that are reported on the Morgellons, it's Charles Holman Association website. The pilot studies, one of them finds that 90% of the people with Morgellons disease have one of 2 types of spirochetes associated with Lyme disease. So that means basically 90% of my population of clients that are subscribed to my updates and that are on this call are dealing with Lyme disease. Now, Lyme disease can be dormant for many years, then all of a sudden becomes active. And it usually, when something like Morgellons comes in the picture, it becomes activated. For me, as Robin said in the very beginning, I've dealt with everything, including Lyme disease, to the point where I was incapacitated, could barely walk 24/7, could even write my name. The motor skill was gone. I was on my way out. History. Fortunately, I discovered things. I discovered the diet. I discovered the value of glutathione. Now, what really ticks me off is all these experts who are experts on Lyme disease, like Klinghardt and Horowitz. They're totally unfamiliar with the power of glutathione and do not have it as part of their protocols. So when I first started boosting my glutathione, my symptoms went from 100, 24/7, to 90% freedom, only 10% symptoms, which was, I felt wonderful, great, I could see that I was going to continue living for a while. And then when I happened upon Garcillin, which is in our store, it's a natural antibiotic derived from garlic, and one capsule has the equivalent of 35 cloves of garlic. So once I introduced that over the course of a few weeks, my symptoms went to less than 1%. So by boosting, and today's update that went out, if you happen to read it, was about questioning the value of using antibiotics in the treatment of Lyme disease and Morgellons. Because long-term usage, if you read that update and check on all those links and studies that are there, indicate that it is very risky having long-term usage of antibiotics to treat Lyme disease or Morgellons disease. There are people who have reported to me that after long-term usage, their gut biome was totally destroyed, their ability to digest food, nil, which is almost like dying. You can't digest food. So it's very risky. So the package that we have, which is called the Pack of Life, it includes the multiple vitamins designed by the fellow who discovered how to create the garcillin, because once you open a clove of garlic, within seconds, the allicin is totally destroyed. So he figured out how to captivate it, how to capture it and put it into this capsule. So with the garcillin, the multiple vitamin that he created, which is specifically created for Lyme disease, the minerals that we have, and boosting glutathione, you may not need medical treatment. So we are allowed to tell you how to boost health and immune functioning. I'm not here to say that you won't need medical treatment or that this is a cure for Lyme disease. No, it's about building health and immune functioning to the point you may need no treatment. And there is a book that I have available also on Amazon. It's called Lyme Disease Doesn't Have to Own You Anymore. It is free. If you go to our download page with all our resources, it's there. It's free. It goes through all the standard techniques that are used to treat Lyme disease, from going to some clinic in Europe that raise your body temperature to 107 degrees for a period of hours. That will get rid of Lyme disease if you can afford it. And antibiotics, rotation, rifing, and all the different treatments out there. So that report is free.
He says his question is, what type of mites are affiliated with Morgellons?
You want to answer that, Robin?
How many kinds of mites are there again?
40. Yeah, Britannica says 40,000.
And what, 8,000 can affect people?
Well, no, I don't know. Typically, we're dealing with bird mites, rat mites, no-see-ums, red mite. There's
chicken mites.
Typical mites. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there may be
5 or 10.
Yeah, maybe 5 or 10. Who knows? And some of them fly. I mean, like for instance, bird mites. Yeah, cloth-eating mites. Bird mites don't fly, by the way.
Right. They're just in bird nests.
Yeah, they're in bird nests and get transported that way, or they crawl. But so yes, in fact, there's another book that's called "Win the War of the Mite" that is also on Amazon, and it's also free if you go to our download page. So mites can be a problem, and they can be a big problem, but our protocol pretty well takes care of it. Next question.
I'm a divorced white female. My ex thought I was crazy. I had to move to a very small apartment for older.
Now, does that sound familiar? My ex thought I was crazy. Deanna earlier asked about it being contagious, and well, unfortunately for her, her husband didn't catch it from her. So he couldn't suffer in the soup. He couldn't suffer in the soup, but instead he calls her crazy. That's how crazy this disease is.
Says I'm taking Lucineron, Nintemperim, and Fenben. I am unusual in that I've never had lesions. Getting them out of the apartment has been very hard. I have sprayed a lot of ammonia and worry that other people in the building will smell it, and I worry that I'm smelling much of it myself. I've ordered the electrostatic sprayer, but now worry that it is too powerful for this 500 square foot apartment. I haven't started the diet yet.
Okay, there you go. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, investing in the electrostatic sprayer and haven't started the diet yet, that's like putting the cart before the horse. Don't waste your time buying my vitamins, my minerals, my supplements, my soaps, my lotions until you make the diet work. Make the diet work. Everything else just puts you on easy street, gets you there a lot faster. You know, people write in and say, oh, God, I don't have the money for all this stuff that you have. Well, you don't have to spend a dime to make the diet work. That's the slow boat to China. If you want to get there fast, then the electrostatic sprayers and all this other stuff, ammonia, yes, it's a difference, but I don't see why it would be so, unless you bought the janitorial grade of ammonia. Now, there are two grades of ammonia. The regular grade that you pick up in most grocery stores and in the laundry aisle, that it's sometimes scented with lemon. Or if you go to Ace Hardware, maybe Home Depot and Lowe's and buy it there, it's a janitorial grade. It is like 10 or 11 times stronger than the regular ammonia. Using that ammonia, you need to wear goggles and gloves, rubber gloves, because it's anhydrous. It will burn like, it's terrible stuff. You don't want to spill it on you. It's dangerous. So if anybody's using that, that would definitely smell the place up, and it's very dangerous. But generally using the regular ammonia, you put it in a 32-ounce spray bottle, and you can use it full strength, and you just spray and move away. You don't walk into the area that you spray. You spray and move back and go away, and you rarely smell much of it at all, because there's no reason to stand around smelling it. You're spraying and moving away.
I'm going to order, just wanting to know what I should try now. The issues I currently have are white hairs, worms, something coming out of my face around my chin, sometimes little black dots or bugs. I think it's springtails still, but seriously, it's crazy. It's gone, then returns. The King diet helps a lot, but I'm trying to go for no symptoms. It's been a long 15 years, but most is gone.
Well, it definitely seems that she has progressed. Read it again. I wanted to comment, and then I lost my train of thought.
Sure. She says, I'm going to order, just wanting to know what I should try now. The issues I currently have are white hairs, worms, something coming out of my face around my chin area.
Okay. They're obviously going to want to use something like either our Super MSM gel or our skin lotion. And again, making sure that you made the diet work. I mean, I can't tell for sure. She's saying that she's better, but I don't really know if she has made the diet work. So once you make the diet work, those things pretty much should stop happening. Now, the question is the fibers that are coming out. I don't know if she's saying worm-like. That worm and hair, I don't know if we can confuse them. But
I think thick hairs can look like worms. People say that a lot, and I think they're Morgellons hairs.
It may be. If they are worms move, I guess. But basically, if you make the diet work, that should be stopping. However, it's not uncommon for women later in age to have facial hair that comes out. So the idea is, does it fluoresce? Take the filaments and see if they fluoresce. When you put them under a dark light, or black light, not a dark light, a black light or a fluorescent light, and they don't fluoresce, well, it's not Morgellons. It's probably just facial hair, or, you know, it's hard to imagine worms coming out like that. It just doesn't seem practical at all. Okay, and then she says what?
She goes on to say that sometimes she has little black dots or bugs. She thinks they're springtails.
Well, springtails are not visible. They would not show up as being black. Generally, a springtail is like 250 microns. It looks like a dust particle. If you could see it, if you ever looked at dust, a guard ray coming through a window, and you see the little things floating in the air, that's dust particles, and that's about the size of a springtail. And they are very difficult. If they are on your skin, it's literally impossible to see them unless they're actually standing up on your skin, and then you could actually see it. But if it's lying down on your skin, you cannot see it. It's a rod-shaped organism, and it looks very much like your skin. In fact, the original microscopy was done by the National Pediculosis Society, I think in 2002, where they took, it was either 20 or 22 people who were diagnosed with delusions of parasitosis, and they performed microscopy on the lesions. They took samples from the lesions, and they found only with experienced people with microscopy, that they're not easy to see, but they found like 19 out of 21, or it was like if there was 22 people, they found 20 with Collembola in the skin samples. So even for experienced people with microscopy, they're not easy to see. So she may have seen a mite, a dead mite. Black specks could be dead mites if you put them under a microscope and you look at it, and it's tightly compressed filaments. Well, that's Morgellons and not a mite. But they're oftentimes connected. And again, it's important to make the diet work, and I'm not sure if she's completely made it the diet at work or if she's just better people just by cutting out sugar sometimes report that their symptoms are better.